In this video, we're going to look at the tailgate and back storage area for the Volvo XC90. This pretty much covers them all because I also performed a trunk feature video on the S90 over here, and there is one thing that I learned, and I tested it on the S90 to make sure that I was ignorant of it when I made that video. So let's begin, and I'll start with that feature. Alright, so you can cover up your license plate so when the cops pull you over they don't know who you are. Haha. So anyway, I just covered it up, whatever. So let's get to the tailgate because that's what this video is about. Alright, on your key fob, we're going to start with the key fob. There are actually 4 functions on the key fob. So when you press the tailgate button, which is this one, it will unlock. Hopefully you heard that. And if it is unlocked or 2 minutes pass by and none of the doors were open, it will lock by itself. So then you just relock it. Alright, now if you press and hold it for about 3 seconds, it will open. So press and hold. 1, 2, 3. And then to close it, press and hold. 1, 2, 3. You can also hear like the alarm going off, like a backup beeper kind of thing. So that's the key fob. Those are the 4 functions of the key fob. Still not done with the key fob. To lock and unlock it, you can be like about 6 feet away or so. To open it, you need to be really close, like maybe 3 feet away, a meter. You know, you have to be right up to it to actually get the tailgate to open up and close. So you can unlock it and hit the button underneath here, and it will open. And even if you could reach the button, it will not close. You have to close it with the close button or close and lock button. And notice that the vehicle indicated that it was locking. Now the vehicle is locked, but if I bring the key up close to it, the latch will work. Even though I locked it. Then of course there's the button that's over by the driver's side, whether it's right side drive or left side drive, there's the button. So there is the button right there, and that will open and close the hatch. And if I know what I'm doing, you have to hold it. You have to be deliberate, because let's say you're carrying bikes or you have a bike carrier back there, you don't want to hit that button and open it up while you're doing something like that. That's very bad. So hopefully you heard the alarm and the door closing. I won't film that. I mean, it's pretty obvious that functions. Okay, there is a way to prevent the tailgate from opening all the way. It says it's optional, so let's see if I have it. So what you want to do is you want to open up the tailgate manually. You want to set it to the position you want it to open to. Next, it says to press and hold the close button. That's the lock button. Press and hold the close button until you hear it beep, and that'll store the setting. All right, I heard it beep twice, so the setting should be stored. All right, let's see if the opening is limited. And there you see it did not open all the way. So you can preset how high it opens. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and reset it to its maximum. I forget what the book said. You don't have to go through that whole procedure if you want to reset it to the maximum, but I'm going to push the button so it goes to the maximum. All right, so I reset it to maximum. And I'm trying to, oh, there we go. Open it up. And there it is all the way back. So there is a limited opening option. Okay, so let's open her up. And there we have the cargo area. Now, that is huge. If there's an obstacle in the way, the door will not close. It'll go down, but it won't latch, and then it'll come back up again. Ask me how I know. So I discovered that feature because we really packed this thing full. All right, so that is that. Now let's look at some of the storage areas around the back area. All right, so we have a depth of 4 feet. We have a width of 3'8", not including the little cubby holes out there, just the narrowest part. And then we have 3'11" up and down, not including the opening up at the top here. Up at the top, but actually up in the roof there. So I took the maximum measurements because the seats are tilting back. That kind of subtracts a little bit. Alright, I did like my 2009 R Design XC90 better than this one. I like the way it worked. Also, this mat here, I recommend WeatherTech. This is the Volvo mat. It comes in 3 sections, 3 totally separate sections. And the idea is if the seats are back, you know, you don't bend this around or whatever. With the WeatherTech, it's pretty flexible. You can fold it up if you needed to do the back seats or take it out completely. Like, let's say you're going to go pick up some family members at the airport or whatever, and you need those back seats for everybody. You know, you can just take the WeatherTech cover off and leave it in the garage or something. So this is pretty thin. I wouldn't call it flimsy. It's fairly flexible, but not too impressed with it. All right, the next thing I am not impressed with is the back door. Now, in the R Design that I had previously, this was fixed. Also, this was a compartment, so there'd be another cover underneath here, and it had straps, and then you'd have to undo the straps and everything to get to the battery area. It did not have a spare tire. It had one of those inflatable kits, and if we went on a long trip, we carried a spare with us, one of those safe space saver spares. We just threw it in the back there just in case. It had expired anyway, and that goop, if you put that goop in your tire, you know, you got to buy a new tire pressure monitoring sensor, you know. And then it only works if you take a nail in the tread area. If you mess up the sidewall, you know, you're not going to use that inflatable thing. So this plate here, this cover, it just doesn't stay up. I mean, it's awful. You basically have to take it out. You know, there is no holding it up. You know, it's just a cover. So let's see what we have here. All right, first of all, right off the bat, you can see I've moved in already. I have some tie straps and extra battery over here on the side. It's like my emergency jumper and emergency power. Usually I only take that on trips for around town. You know, I have the wife to rescue me if needed. So from the factory it came with these guys, you know, they fit in here to take up the space. So when I trade it in or sell the vehicle, I will put those back, take my stuff out and put those back in. So I took them out. I'm going to leave my stuff in there for the video. Alright, just an emergency bag or whatever. I'll show you something that I learned. I didn't know what it was. Here's my tailgate cover, which I had on my other vehicle, but with the Hideaway one, you know, I don't really need it, but I kept it anyway. Alright, and so here is the lug bolt remover if you have to change tire on the road. But see how short it is? Here's something I learned. Here is the tow hitch. You know, you screw this into the bumper face if you need a tow truck to pull you out of the ditch or whatever. But what you can do is you can screw this in here. Well, that's enough. You can screw it in all the way. Oh, there it is. I knew some threads stuck out there. But now you have a bit of a moment arm. Have a little bit more oomph to break those lug bolts loose with. So that's what that is for. It's actually pretty heavy. Here is your trailer hitch and ball. That is a 2-inch ball, so that's good. I thought it was going to be smaller because I was looking at replacing our trailer, and this turns out to be 2-inch. Alright, I tried to highlight that a little bit. You can see my red shadowing there, but it says 2-inch right in the middle, 5,000 pound, and SAE number. And your hitch pin and your carter pin all have places to rest. Your jack, we'll take that out, and this is what I learned. So this came in plastic. I didn't know what the heck that was. It looked real funny. This is to remove your lug bolt caps. If you have a newer vehicle, you know what I'm talking about. Alright, what the heck is going on here? Alright, so if you attempt to fill the car up with a gas can, odds are you're gonna make a mess. And let me show you why. Actually, I'm not even going to show you. I'm going to have to tell you because you're not going to see it. Well, there's no cap, so you know there's this first flap, but actually there are two. There are two. You would have to really stick this thing in far in order to activate both flaps. So this gives you a little cup to pour your gas into if you need to pour from a gas can or something on the side of the road there, because you know, you didn't make it your 510 miles like it said it would go. So that's what that is for. And just remember, it's because there's two flaps, not one here, but two. So that's what that's about. Okay, starting over here on the left, we have some netting attachments, so you can fold this down, put your netting on there. You also have one up here. If you need to hook something on there, this is like, you know, for grocery bags, I think is what they advertise it for. You just hook your bags on here and they dangle. So that's on both sides. So we'll come around. This is where the styrofoam little insert, spacer inserts went. And we'll come over to the center tray and I'll pull that out. And that will reveal your space saver spare tire, which I'm knocking the camera. Notice that it secures in place. I was gonna put something in there to store some like straps in there and stuff, but this took up the space and I'm not gonna cut those off. It's not that important to me. So there's your spare. The 48-volt battery is located underneath there. Maybe in a future video I'll take the cover off of it and take a peek at it, but not right now. Looks like a lot of grounding wires are going around there. Boy, if this thing floods, it would be the end of the world for this vehicle, I can tell you that. There's so many modules and stuff back here, it's ridiculous. I know from the other XC90 that I own, there was just absolutely a ridiculous amount of stuff back here. Also, the lights are LED, so there's really no pulling things out and accessing the back to change the bulbs with. None of that's going on. So again, we have a little storage compartment, little tray, but again, it really doesn't come out. Of course it comes out, but you know, it's set in place. It's not to be removed to change lights. There are no incandescent bulbs back here at all. So, and there is your 12-volt outlet right here if you need some 12 volts. And right here is the hidden trailer hitch. You have to push and hold that button and then release it. You don't want to keep it held down. So let me get the tripod out of the way and I'll show you that. Alright, hopefully I can get everything in the shot here. Now when I release it, it does not go into position. You have to manually put it into position. So let me show you that. Well, guess what I just learned? The car has to be unlocked. If it's locked, the light would not come on. Of course, you know, now that everything's open and unlocked and everything, it worked. So let me restage that again. All right, here we go. Notice that I pressed it, held it for a few seconds, and then let it go. They say do not keep it held in. I don't know, it gets confused or something, or it's a safety thing so that, you know, it won't dispatch accidentally. I don't know. Then you have to reach in here and set it in place. And I could put my little Volvo thing on there if I wanted to. There we go. Alright, so this has the round 7 blade connector. So if you have the 4-pin connector, you're going to need an adapter. Also, this is a pretty powerful spring on here. See? So if you have to use your adapter, the key is at the top. So it will go in like this. And you want to make sure that goes in nice and firm, which I'm having fun doing. There we go. So the last ½ inch, ¼ inch or so really stuck in there. See, I can pull the cap off without pulling the unit out. I actually have to use force here. Oh, and the cap was holding it on too. So, you know, you have plenty. Yeah, the cap is actually holding it in. I'll be darned. So you have little to no chance of this thing coming out once it's set in place. See how the cap prevents it from coming out? There's a little bit of a gap right there. If I was to try and pull it out, it won't come out. I have to lift the cap up. Okay, so I took the spare tire out, and that's the 48-volt battery. Apparently the 48-volt circuit, the hot line is blue and the ground is black. So that designates the difference between the 12-volt battery in front that runs the engine and the 48-volt battery in the back that runs everything else. Also, I had taken the spare tire out and rearranged it so that I could check the air pressure a little easier, you know. Luckily this was up and I didn't have to flip it over, because sometimes you can't flip these over, nothing will fit back in place. But anyway, so the valve stem was sticking up, but it was way down there, so I just rotated the tire so I could check the pressure before we go on a trip or something. Alright, your lockdown tab is keyed, so you want to make sure that is secured in place. You don't want your tire to pop out. So make sure that's all snuggalicious. This is a cool little thing. I don't care how tall you are, even though I am short. What this does is this goes on the door hitch, and it's a step, and you hook it on the door hitch so you can go up onto the top of the car. It's good for washing, or I don't ever use the roof to tie things down, but you know, if you do, here's a little step for you. Works pretty cool. Just stick it on the door latch there, and now you have a step. You can get up on the roof. Now, I bought that on Amazing's website. You know, that's not a Volvo thing. That's a, hey, I'm short thing. I need one of those. All right, and then your cover needs to go on exactly correct. There's some places for it to rotate into and close down flush. Oops, forgot something. So you really need to set this in first, because like I said, these guys right here slide in under the seats. So you need to get that in there. Then you can stuff all your other junk all around it. Alright, and then after you put all your stuff in there, you can close this back up. Put your expensive, cheapy Volvo mat back in place. Make sure it's all fitted correctly. If it's not flush and fitted correctly, this will not go in all the way like you want it on both sides. Fun stuff. And I put my non-Volvo cargo net in there, but it's so close to the Volvo net that it's not even funny as far as size and function. Alright, let me put the trailer hitch back. Okay, if it's been over 2 minutes, you may have to hit the unlock button to get this to activate, because it's not activated unless you see the light is on. Did you hear it? Now I'll show it separate. So I locked it in place and I'll push the button again 2 or 3 seconds, release it, and there it goes, and you have to manually fold it up. Into the hideaway position. Now I think I didn't show you the kick feature. Let me show you that. Okay, so I'm going to use the kick feature when it's locked, but because I have the key with me, it'll open. Let me show you that. First I will lock it. Alright, there it says it's locked. Now if you go right under the V in Volvo, down to underneath the bumper here, that's where you kick it, but you don't touch anything. It only detects movement. Motion sensor. Vehicle locked, the key in my pocket. Pretty easy. You can also kick it closed. You can also kick it closed. And there we have the rear tailgate. Now the wiper blade, I mean, they last so long it's ridiculous. I'll show you how to change that. I think there's a separate pump. In my 2009 there were 2 pumps, one for the front, one for the back, but it was a single reservoir. So keep the reservoir full and you'll have wishy-washy fluid for the back. So changing the blade is bring it up to the locked position. You know, the front wipers will stay up. There's a maintenance mode for the front, and then for this guy you just tilt it forward, tilt it back here, and it just pops right off. So you can also just pull it. It says to tilt it from the back side here, but here I'll show you. It just pops right off. It's pretty easy. See, it just kind of clicks into place. Nothing to it. And snap it in place. Pretty easy. Drop it back down. And there might be a maintenance mode for this one. I didn't look before I started yapping. But that'll only bring it up this way. But you saw there was plenty of room to pull it up and out from its rest position. So I only see wiper service position, so I'm 100% sure that's the front. I don't know if it does the back also. I again forgot to read it. But anyway, now I want to show you something I learned while I was carrying bikes. So we carried bikes on a trip recently, and I put it in reverse and the car slammed on the brakes and told me that it avoided a collision. You're welcome. So let me show you what happened. I'm not going to hook up the bike. I'm just going to put something in front of the bumper and try and back it up and show you that. Okay, let's start the vehicle. Alright, I'm going to turn the parking brake off. Oh, foot on the brake. It warns you about a lot of things. Alright. I'll let it idle down. Hold on a second. Alright, we have idle down, and then this gear shift really throws me off. Park is a push button. So if you put your foot on the brake, you can go into reverse. Alright, that'll bring up the backup camera. You can see the board and the couch. You can see reverse over here. If you want to go into park, you just press the park button and it goes into park. You do not have to move the shift lever, just press the button with your foot on the brake and the car stopped. You know, all conditions have to be met for park to engage. All right, let's look back here. We'll put it back in reverse. Here, let me show you that. Okay, we have that. We already have warnings. And our camera. Oh, also the 360 is, if you touch in the center of the screen, it'll go to 360. So there's your 360 if you want it. But I didn't want the 360, so let me get out of the camera mode here and go back to the reverse mode. Alright, I'm in park. I'll press the center button. Alright, now I'm with my foot on the brake. I'll put it in reverse. There we have the reverse camera. I already have 2 warnings. And the brake is off. I'm going to go backwards. And let's see how... There's my red warning, but it does more than that. Alright, and we got automatic intervention, rear auto brake control. Okay? And let me tell you what, that was a shock for this car to slam on the brakes and stop you. Let me get out of that noise here. Well, you gotta hit OK. Put it in D for... Oh, the parking brake is on too. Boy, it really locked her down. Alright, let me put the parking brake on, put it in park, and turn off the 360. That scared the crap out of us because there was nothing behind us. I even got out of the car and looked and tried again. So anyway, that was nice, you know. And if you look at some of these SUVs or minivans, you'll see a dent in the tailgate, and you know, they backed into something. Well, hopefully Volvo will protect itself, because I tell you what, it really scared the crap out of us when we had the bike racks on. And now you can turn that off, but you got to do it every time you start the car. Alright, I didn't show turning it off, but that's okay. On the backup menu, what happens is when that auto engages like that, you'll see 2 buttons. One is for the beeper, you know, because you got to turn that off, because when you have a bike rack or a trailer, you know, it's going to see the bike rack or the trailer and it's going to beep at you. And also the auto stop feature, because if you have a bike rack or a trailer, you need that off so you can back up. So I didn't show that. But there are 2 separate buttons. Alright, so that is the back of the Volvo XC90. This is the B6 Ultimate, but all these features I showed you go all the way down to the baseline. Except for the trailer hitch, but that's an option. So you can put that on the baseline if you purchase that option. Alright, well that's my video for today. Thank you for watching.